Good afternoon. My name is Alidar. I use he, him pronouns, and this afternoon I'm facilitating the second of a two-shot of Rapscallion. This is the pirate PBTA game that is in Ashcan currently from Magpie Games. In our first outing last week, our crew had an exciting adventure at an opera house. And came away with some important clues that might help the captain get to the treasure he desires. But more of that in a bit. In the first instance, can I ask the players to introduce themselves and say something briefly about their character? In the order of the character keeper, can I start with Alexi?
Hey everybody, Alexi, he, him pronouns, and you can follow all my gaming endeavors online if you so desire at Cloven Pine Games. So that's at Cloven Pine Games on Twitter and Cloven Pine Games at itch.io. And I am playing Captain Amos Nightshade. He is the captain. He rules this ship, the Crimson Sky. He participated in a secret occult ritual to make himself part of the renegade noble house, the Nightshades. So that's hovering in the background for him. He kind of has a long-term goal of reclaiming the Nightshade barony. But in the meantime, he is running this ship, leading this crew, more or less contentedly. Depending on how reasonable they are on a given day.
Thank you. Moving along, Julie, say hello and tell us about Jamie Phillips.
I'm Julie, she, her pronouns, and I'm playing Jamie the Chronicler, and she's an escaped servant that wants to get all the knowledge and have all the books.
Yeah, and we now know that the professor knows where she is, who used to employ her. Moving along, Robert, say hello and tell us about Clance Carter.
Yeah, Robert, he, him pronouns. I'm playing as Clance Carter the Mountebank. Clance has accepted a contract from a demon, so that's kind of just a thing. Clance is into long walks on the beach, thievery, and shiny objects.
Yes. It's just a demon, nothing. And in fact, compared to our final character today, I think having a demon is kind of just very passé. Leah, say hello and tell us about Raku Pugmill.
Raku Pugmill is an enormous clay golem. He's pretty friendly, extremely straightforward, only sometimes uses doors. It's important to phrase instructions to him relatively precisely. And he's surprisingly one of the most social members of the ship with, debts to the bucket heads, a friend who's a zombie plague doctor. People love Raku.
Yeah, I mean, who can't love a large clay golem? We ended last time having the crew having successfully stolen 2 organ pipes and the organist, as it happens, from the Sansouk Opera House, because Captain Nightshade was convinced that somehow they would help guide him to his treasure. And in fact, when they rolled these inked and rolled these organ pipes out onto a piece of sailcloth, they did indeed get some clues that Amos is convinced, and the crew therefore are equally convinced, I'm certain, will get them through the death waters to the treasure. But between here and there, I'm curious what the crew wants to do. We left Jamie coming back to Earth in a way, having had a kind of slight incident when the crowd got to her, because the thing about Jamie is that she sees people's feelings and auras as firework displays. So the crowd outside the opera house rather freaked her, but I think she's probably recovered now. And can I start with Jamie? Jamie, where do you go when you're on board to read your books in private?
I like to escape up to the crow's nest, but I got kind of like a tarp or something up there, and I can hide under it.
That's what I remember. And you found, as I remember, a diary in the opera house when some some apprentice musicians or others, people being taught music, made a run for it. And I think we discovered last time it was the diary of Imelda de Groot. Interestingly, the governor of San Sucre is called de Groot. And I think I can tell you that your investigation of the diary has revealed that this is indeed his only and beloved daughter, Imelda. And I'll also tell you that it tells a story of her love for the Lady Carla Dupre, despite the fact that she is betrothed to Lieutenant Michael Fitzwarren. So you can store that away for later use any way you want. Lieutenant Fitzwarren, I think, confronted Raku outside the Opera House last time because he knows that you owe the Bucketheads a debt, which I think wading through that platoon of Bucketheads to escape may not be considered paying the debt. So we'll see where that takes us. Okay, Captain Nightshade. Where are you taking your ship? Oh, I'd forgotten we should talk about your ship. Your ship is the Crimson Sky.
Yeah.
Where are you telling the crew to head with the Crimson Sky?
Yeah, I think I'm telling folks to hoist the sail, and we see these ragged sails that are stitched together with scarlet thread, rising up the masts, because we are gonna navigate through the Death Waters to claim the treasure of the Drowned Temple. It's our destiny, and by Gar, we're going to take it with both hands.
Now, there are a number of places on your charts between here and the Death Waters. Are you seeking to avoid the Pirate Haven or the Dark Isle, where the plague doctors, the zombie plague doctors, provide a health service, or indeed the Mermaid's Cove nearby? Is the objective to avoid them or to stop off at them?
I thought we could stop off.
Go ahead, Leah.
I feel like we, in our epilogue, ended our scene last time dropping off the composer at Pirate's Haven. We're probably setting off from there through the Death Waters.
So let's go straight to that point then. So the Pirate Haven, as you described it last time, Captain Nightshade, it's not a dock, it's not an island per se, but it's a place where a variety of ships moor together for more or less time. So the ones at the center have probably been there for a decade or two, but then other pirate ships arrive and depart.
Yeah.
So who's the person that you most want to avoid meeting at the Pirate Havens, Captain Nightshade?
Yeah, that's obviously the sorceress pirate Captain Euphrasia Lambkin.
So Euphrasia is not a friend then. Okay.
Perhaps we once were friendly, but things happen amongst pirates on the seas.
More than friendly?
I wonder.
The rumors fly.
Can I ask Clance? Now this is the sorceress pirate captain, Euphrasia Lambkin. Given your connectivity to Abaddon the demon, what do you know about Euphrasia Lambkin?
I think Euphrasia once had a contract himself with a demon, and somehow got out of that contract. And so maybe Abaddon, demons in general, let's say, are not fans of this sorceress pirate.
What do you think about this? Is there any sense in which you quite like to know how to get out of your deal with Abaddon?
I think part of me wants to know how to get out of the deal, so interested in that, but also interested just in, who has the kind of power to either backstab or trick a demon into getting out of that contract. Even just that is interesting to me.
Okay. So you need to reprovision a little, Captain. So what are the crew allowed shore leave?
Sure. I mean, it's not a shore per se, just further decks that we've lashed ourselves to here. So I think I let people off with the the command to return to the ship by let's say mid-afternoon, when we hope to be reprovisioned and ready to catch a favorable wind.
Raku, I think you've probably all been to the Pirate Haven at some point or other in the past. Where do you go when you're given leave at the havens?
Sometimes I go down to the clay yards and just pile more clay onto myself.
Right. Yeah, and because golems are not uncommon in these waters, I think probably deep in the lower decks of a hulk at the center of the Pirate Havens, a supply of clay is kept for those such as you. Let's cut to that. So Raku is deep in the bowels of a hulk. It's been decades since it sailed the seas. Who else is here?
I feel like there may be another golem. There are actually some pirate potters who have a workshop down here. We sometimes pay for the clay we're taking by analyzing the materials for impurity in ways they can't.
And so I think probably Jamis Windgut, head pirate potter, will approach Raku and say, it's been a while, Raku, since you were in the depths seeking clay. What can we do for you?
Raku thinks for an uncomfortably long time, which the potters are relatively used to at this point, and says, "What is a present you give someone to say, now it is as though I did not knock down most of your men"?
Oh, that'll be a big present, Raku.
I
Big
am
present.
very big myself, so I can carry it.
And what was the nature of the person whose men you knocked down?
A bucket head. And they all had heads in buckets, so many were probably fine. So perhaps a medium present.
I think that probably what you want is something richly adorned. The Bucketheads are a proud group. Get them something that they couldn't get anywhere else and would look very good at a ball or such like.
Yes, things that look very good, like gold and blood and the spray of sea foam. All of these things are beautiful. I will go to the artisan ship and see what I can trade for.
Ah, yes, and there you'll find Euphrasia Lampkin buying goods for her new pet.
Is the pet a non-person this time?
Oh no, Euphrasia prefers her pets to be people. And I think at that point we might just close out for a moment and cut to Clance. Clance, we've never seen Abaddon on screen, and I'm not sure we do now. But I know you talk to him or it. What's the nature of the conversation as you make your way for some leave in the Pirate Havens?
I think Abaddon is growing very impatient. I promised him rare and unique artifacts, and all that I've managed to get so far, well, I mean, right now we're on a trip to maybe get some, but all I've given him so far are just trinkets and baubles and minor gold pieces.
And certainly the whisper in your ear is this not the place where the sorceress pirate Euphrasia Lampkin spends time? Will she not have many such arcane goods?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if she's here, she might not even be here. You never know, Abaddon. I mean, the pirates, we come and go. she might not even be here. She's probably out somewhere.
Don't disappoint me again, my friend.
I mean, no. Trust me. I'm on the right path here. Just I just need a little bit more time. This one is going to be big. Just trust me, as much as I mean, us humans, we're trustable.
Time will tell, my friend.
No, I promise. I mean, maybe I can pick up something small. Just for the trip. Some kind of small artifact while we're here.
So where are you heading in the Pirate Havens where you think there might be decent enough pickings, Clance?
I think maybe there is like a small, almost like a little marketplace where other pirates would come to fence their stolen goods. And so I probably go there to look for, I think Clance doesn't think most pirates are smart enough to know when they've found some kind of rare artifact. They might, one man's junk is another man's rare demonic artifact.
Fine. So you're heading to the marketplace near the center of the Havens. Jamie, what about you? What are you going to do with the several hours you have until the captain wants everyone back on board?
I think I'm also at this market looking for rare books and stuff like that.
And finally, Captain Nightshade, do you intend to stay aboard to supervise reprovisioning, or does your first mate get that job so you can explore the Havens?
Fascinating question. Yeah. I think First Mate Grumley can supervise the reprovisioning, and I will hit some of the bars of Pirate Haven to see if there's any useful rumors about the various factions in case we encounter anything, any opposition in the Death Waters. Just in case.
Yeah, so let's cut to one of those pirate taverns where there is a badly tuned piano playing in the corner, where there are a number of hooks and peg legs on display, and much conversation. And indeed, very pleased to see Amos Nightshade. It's been a while, Amos, says Joe Thick, the tavern keeper.
Ahoy, Joe.
What brings you here?
What brings a pirate anywhere but the smell of treasure?
Have you got it, or are you looking for it, Amos?
I've got a map, and that's nearly as good.
You've got a map. You should keep that quiet, Amos.
No one but me can read it anyway.
Well, I've heard that story before.
Listen.
Euphrasia's docked down the way.
Then it's good I gave my crew a strict deadline, and they all are smart enough to avoid her, I'm sure. We'll be under sail before she hears we're even here.
You can trust me to say not a word, Amos. Say not a word.
Thank you kindly. Now, any other anything else you smell on the wind that I should keep in ken as we chart our course?
The word is that the bucketheads are abroad. Seems that something's happened at San Sucre that set them all of a fidget. You wouldn't know anything about that, Amos.
Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Here's information like that, not something you bandy about. So let's say I could weave you a little bit of a story, if you can offer me a little more details on what you've heard. How about that? Sound like a fair parley?
It does. And I think you've triggered parley there, haven't you?
Of course. Yeah, because I'm offering a story in exchange for a little more, juicy details. So that's an 8 on the board, plus my polish, which is 1, brings it to a 9.
So on 7-9, they want to see you hold up your end of the bargain first, or they change the terms. I think that what Joe wants is for you to tell your story and entertain his customers for a little while. Yeah?
Yeah. I kind of, he kind of, maybe he like draws me over to whatever the like kind of very basic elevated platform is in this bar, and I kind of sigh and step up and say, "All right, you rabble of no good pirate scum. You want to hear a tale of daring adventure, burning opera houses, and defiance of the Bucketheads?"
And there's a roar of yes, banging of tankards on tables. I suppose what I'm interested in, Amos, are you telling them the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, or are you aiming to tell them a clever lie?
I think it's good to be economical with the truth in settings like this. So I think what I leave them with the impression that the pipes themselves were very valuable, and we've sold them and made our profit, and I'm not kind of explaining that in fact the pipes had a message on them that will help guide us to further treasure.
That sounds like hoodwink.
Yeah, sure.
So roll plus polish.
So polished, this pirate captain. Drew 7 all told.
So you've pulled it off. They believe that the value of the pipes is in their very material and decoration, not in any kind of code they hold.
Mm-hmm.
But on 7-9, pick one. They'll catch on soon. You cause collateral damage, or your deception works too well.
I want to pick your deception works too well. And I have a thought that maybe that means that our that the composer that we bundled onto a little ship with the pipes is now in more danger if pirates think these pipes themselves are the most valuable thing.
I like that a lot. Fine. So Maestro Michelangelo is now in danger. Okay, let's cut to the market and the ship on which the artisans ply their various trades, where I think we see Jamie and we see Clance and probably even Raku looking for an appropriate gift for the Bucketheads. Do you want to be together or do you want to be separate?
I think if other people want to be separate, Raku probably wants to be together.
Clance, Jamie, did you go together in the end, or have you met there, or are you still on opposite sides of the marketplace?
I think Clance probably went alone, but then as soon as he ran into the others, of course he would tag along because he doesn't want to seem like he's doing something he shouldn't be doing. Even though Clance is always doing something he shouldn't be doing, so it's probably pretty obvious.
So he's trailing around the bookshops after Jamie. Raku, what are you looking for? Because you can be separate if they want to be together.
I think Raku is just kind of walking over to wherever things are shiniest, and then earnestly asking questions of the proprietors. And is keeping in mind the captain has always used strong language when speaking of Euphrasia, so if he runs into her, she's probably pretty smart.
And isn't it interesting that as that thought creeps across Raku's brain, who should appear on the opposite side of the stall from Raku than sorceress pirate captain Euphrasia Lambkin, with a young woman on a leash. And Euphrasia looks at Raku and says, "Raku, Is that you?
Yes. Yes, I am me. And you are you.
Indeed, Raku, as always, I remain my very self.
It's hard to do that in these waters.
True
And
enough.
what is this? And he points to the woman.
Ah, my new pet. It's a young woman, I'd have thought probably not yet out of her late teens. She is dressed in a very expensive, but plain, I think, dress, which has clearly suffered a little in whatever travails brought her here.
Yeah, Raku's a pretty polite guy, so he asks Euphrasia, does she bite or may I pet her?
She has proven so far to be very amenable, my dear Raku. Please.
Raku takes like a massive hand and just goes like pat, 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 a tiny bit.
And the young woman looks up at Raku in complete fear and says, it's you.
I think I'd like to size her up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so when I size someone up, roll plus vinegar. So let's see, I'm trying to remember what my stats. How are the stats there?
I cannot believe you have too much vinegar.
I have -2 vinegar. All right, let me get rid of this extra dice I had from earlier. All right, let's go, dice. That's an 8 -2, so it's a 6.
Then I think what happens is as you size her up, she sizes you up. Clearly she recognizes you, because let's face it, there aren't many people who look just like you around. And she quails away and says something like, what did you do with the maestro, my teacher?
We put him on a boat with his friends, the Pipes, so he is very happy, I think.
And she scurries round the back of Euphrasia and says, it was him, it was them. They attacked the opera house and drove us all out.
Raku says, the opera house was on fire. So I have been told that you, and he like looks at the woman and then looks at Euphrasia, and even you do not like fire in the way that I do. And I think he is here trying to hoodwink a little. Not that he's very good at it. So
I'm very happy for him to try.
When the captain said, this is a fire, we indeed got everyone out of the place that was on fire. So that's plus polish. That's a 0, so let's see. That's a 5. Can I add a little to what Raku says there?
Go on.
We got all the people out of the fire, and especially the Pipes, which are worth a great deal more than us to the people, but generously also the people.
I think that Euphrasia is appraising you now and is beginning to put 2 and 2 together. Clearly some calculation has gone on in her head, and she very politely says, but Raku, I must away. Perhaps we'll meet again before you depart. And whisks away into the crowd with her entourage.
Raku waves happily, and like you see him actually like make a little with a stylus, a little notch on a spot of his arm where he's been like to encourage himself, keeping track of the times he successfully misleads someone to prove to the captain he can. And he's like, that went very well.
It's remarkable. You are your own calendar and mark post. Spot on. Okay. Meanwhile, then the bookshops and other stalls. What do we see? Jamie, I'm assuming here is leafing through books and stuff. But I'm quite interested in what Clance is doing while this is going on.
Clance has decided, so he is just going to be completely upfront and go to one of the proprietors of these shops and slam down his one guild that he has to his name. Say, well, okay, I'm looking for some kind of unique artifact with lots of demonic power. Do you have any of those? What's the best I could get for one guild?
I think I'm going to ask you here to parley with him, because I'm not sure how seriously he's taking you at this point.
Yeah, and I think, with each pause, I keep on, Clance looks, kind of like puts his head under his coat. He's like, see, Abaddon, see, I'm trying.
Yeah, I'm not sure who you're trying to convince here, whether it's the book, the seller, or the demon. But let's see how the dice fall.
Or both. That's a 12.
Well done, my boy. Well done, says Abaddon. The shopkeeper, the stallholder, looks at the guild and looks at you and says, I don't have anything for a guild, but if you could get 2, maybe.
2? I can probably, it's a pirate haven, right? Of course we can acquire a guild. And then I start looking around for where Jamie's at. Is Jamie in the same shop as Clance?
I think probably Jamie is at the bookshop opposite, because this doesn't seem like a bookshop that you're at. Is that fair, Jamie?
Yeah, so I think I would head over to wherever Jamie's at.
Jamie, what kind of book are you looking for? Or are you looking to sell books? I don't know.
No, Jamie's looking to get more books because, we're going on this dangerous journey to go get some treasure. So she's just looking right now for anything useful she could find.
I think probably then the bookseller can certainly sell you some supplies. Fresh quills, ink, parchment, paper, bookbinding equipment. Yeah. Is that the sort of thing you're interested in?
Yeah, that's good, because she can make more books.
Now, this game does have quite a detailed kind of economy in the sense of stuff costs stuff. I think that I would equate something like bookbinders, tools, and equipment with, I think, probably something like thieves' tools, a specialist professional set of materials. So are you prepared to pay a guild to get these materials?
Yep.
Then the stallholder will take your guild and hand over a big bundle of everything you will need for the next 6 months in the way of bookmaking. Yeah? Clance, it's just occurred to me, and might have occurred to you as well, that probably the most interesting arcane materials you have easy access to are Jamie's books. Tempted?
Maybe. That is tempting, actually, yeah. But I'm not sure that I want to just try to straight up give one of those to Abaddon.
Because when Abaddon whispers in her, he says, whenever you get close to that girl, I smell gin. I could eat a gin now.
Well, she's quite magic in general. She's got all these rare books. It could be anything. Maybe she just has a little bit of gin blood in her. Abaddon, I don't think a gin is really your type anyway.
Have you ever eaten one?
Well, you got me there. I have not. And they always say try it before you knock it. So nope, that's a good point.
So, a couple of hours have passed. Raku has probably bought something for very little that is ideal.
May I make just a fortune roll to see how what I bought went?
I think that's a great idea. Go ahead.
All right. Let's see. Just a flat roll of, and then
Yeah.
we'll see if I get the chance to give the gift. How it will go. But I got a 3. So
The perfect present for Lieutenant Fitzwarren.
yes.
The absolutely perfect present for. Yeah, that you're sorted. All is done.
It's an amusing miniature of the Queen, and he loves the Queen.
Yes. Unfortunately, when you wind it up, it lifts its skirts. So have we done shopping? So I think probably Captain Nightshade went least. He didn't go as deep as the rest of you into the Pirate Haven because he went to one of the nearest taverns he knew.
Yes.
And so I think, Captain Nightshade, you will be the first to be aware that there's been a raid on your ship.
And just to check in, make sure we resolved the parley from earlier. Did I get any additional information out of Big Joe or whatever his name was at the
Yeah, Joe Thick.
Joe Thick.
Yes, Joe was able to tell you that the rumor is that the reason the Bucketheads are all a jitter is because the governor's daughter has been kidnapped during some botched raid on San Sucre that caused chaos.
All right, filing that one away. How do I hear about this raid? Is there like yelling in the streets?
I think I'm prepared to see over Joe's shoulder through the open door of the tavern. You see a group of pirates carrying your organ pipes away. Because the word on the street is that they are more valuable than gold itself. What do you do, Amos?
I turn to the rabble in the bar and I say, "Hearties, there's been a foul trick played. Some perfidious wretch has attacked my ship while I've been here, entertaining and laying bare my story for all of you. Come, help me and there'll be a reward."
Command.
Yeah.
Captain.
Got to do that. All right. When you command an interested crowd, roll plus polish. So I have an 8 all told here. They're interested in your goal. I'm going to give them. I'm going to say they'll follow your orders for more than just a few minutes, but they're not trained and they're not loyal. Obviously.
So you have a rabble at your back as you charge out.
Yes.
And I guess that what constitutes the havens are a number of these old hulks that are more or less permanent.
Yes.
With walkways that go across the various decks. And so I think we see you charging after the pipe stealers with the tavern rabble who are saying, "Yeah, for Nightshade," they cry. I think probably that Raku, Clance, and Jamie are now on their way back in your direction. And so given that Raku is the tallest, I think, by some distance, Raku, what do you do when you see in the distance on these walkways a bunch of ne'er-do-wells and what look a lot like the captain's organ pipes?
I'm going to go beat them up. Alan, I think you're muted or were muted for a second.
I was. I flicked the wrong way. Would you like to tell us what this assault looks like in the movie? What do we see happening?
I think for a second he's about to just charge across the walkways, thundering all the way. And then he remembers the captain has talked to him about subtlety. And you see him kind of pulling himself into the rigging of a ship, along their path. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to strike or shoot by just dropping from the rigging onto these people, which is, very likely going to break whatever.
Very subtle, very subtle.
Yes.
Yes. Jamie, what do you do when you see Raku heading off towards where there is clearly some fracas about to erupt, and see him clambering up a mast and making his way to above this fracas? What does Jamie do?
I think I start yelling, like, what are you doing? Why are you climbing up there? Like, get back here, and just try to run after and stop.
Are you going to go up, or are you going to try and follow him underneath?
I think I'm going to go up.
Fine.
It's hard to stop Raku
It's
from
probably
afar.
smart to go up if Raku is about to come down.
Yeah, that too.
Clance, what about you?
Oh, I think Clance is definitely following Raku. It's probably, better to be behind Raku than anywhere in front of or below Raku.
Okay. So let's see. I think that Raku will get to act first, because let's work out how well this goes and how close to you are to the pipe stealers when you fall. So strike or shoot. Roll with blood, I think.
All right, this Raku is very good at, just like he is very good at lying when he practices. All right, so it's a 4 + 2. What a day for Raku.
Have you gained a level from all these misses
Oh,
yet?
do I mark experience on misses in this system?
You do.
I'm assuming. Well, let me go ahead and mark 3 and see where that takes me.
Fine. Okay, so mark those failures. It's all going terribly well for Raku. Even on the things that Raku is supposed to be good at, it's going terribly well. So I think what I will have happen is that Raku lands on the front of one of the pipes, and the pipe spins up into the air, and then plunges straight down through the bottom of the ship. And so the ship on which Raku and the remaining pipe that's in the hand of the pirates is now beginning to sink. Jamie, Clance, you have just made it to the upper rigging of the ship that is just starting to sink. What's your preference?
So just to be clear, is this our ship or is this their ship, or?
No, this is a sadly entirely uninvolved ship.
Oh. I think so. I've just gotten up to the top. I'm probably just going to try to swing down from the rigging somehow.
Down to where Raku is on the sinking ship, or onto a ship next that's safe?
Probably down to where Raku's at.
Okay.
I think at this point we realize they're stealing our pipes, so I at least want to help out with that problem.
Jamie, what about you?
I think I want to shoot at the people trying to take the other pipe that didn't go through the ship to stop them.
That's fine. So Jamie, and I suppose a pistol from the rigging. So this is roll plus blood to strike or shoot.
And that's at -2.
It's a -3, so I got 4.
Oh wow, this is going so terribly well. You do indeed hit one of the pirates carrying the remaining pipe, but unfortunately, losing him means that the pipe slides back off the shoulders of the other one, down into the rapidly filling hold below. Yeah. Amos, you're pursuing these guys, and it appears that they've stopped.
Hooray!
At the point where a large object, which you probably recognize as Raku, kind of lands in front of them. What do you do, Amos? You and your rabble.
Yeah, I've I've got the rabble. I'm seeing this chaos unfold. I probably say, all right, me hearties, go ahead and dive. The one who brings me back that pipe will get a quarter of its value.
Oh, and they are already following you, and so you see them diving. This ragtag of tavern sweepings dive into the rapidly flooding hold. Raku, you seem to have stopped them stealing the pipes. Well done. What do you do now?
Let's see. I think I've knocked one pipe out of their possession happily by pushing it further into the sinking ship. And I think I'm going to turn my attention to the men with the remaining pipe.
Jamie
Oh
shot
no,
at
never
one of
mind.
them, and the other pipe is now down in the hold as well.
I'm really looking for an excuse to use a dirty trick somewhere. But you know what? I think instead I might try and let's see. Let me look back at my golem moves. My temptation is then to head down to the sinking part and just break out of the bottom of the ship since it is already sinking, and therefore that's fine, with the pipe and kind of go along, underneath the ship to escape with it. So I think I'll try and break in and break out with the pipe through the bottom of the ship.
Okay, and I think that depending on how well this goes, because it's fisticuffs to break stuff, isn't it? To bust through stuff. When you want to bust through something.
When I want to bust through something, yeah. So I'm going to take the angry weakness and roll plus blood.
Okay, and I think depending on how well this goes will depend how deep it is down there. Because I've only established whether you sink.
It's really hard to believe I don't sometimes, right? But I also don't have to breathe, so I don't always take that into account. I've already got angry, so I think it'll be bloodthirsty instead.
You also when you have both of those marked, you don't need to mark more to do the move. I think.
I think I have to mark a second one to be able to roll right now, and then after this, I can roll for free.
Yeah,
without marking
you're
additional
permanently angry and bloodthirsty. So fisticuffs is just routine.
All right, so let's
go for it.
Fisticuffs my way through the bottom of this ship. Plus blood. I can't believe I rolled another 4. So that's still a 6.
Hey, and on a miss for fisticuffs, your violence is your undoing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that probably your violence is your undoing, and you are sinking into deeper and deeper water, having missed the pipe on the way. So both the pipes are still in the bottom. One of them is sticking into the bottom of the boat where it's cracked the hull, and Raku has plummeted straight through the hull next to it into the depths. Jamie, I think you're probably best placed to see that because you're up a height looking down. What do you do, Jamie?
So I think at this point, I would want to use my frost book to create some kind of ice staircase to just get Raku out of the water with the pipes.
We like this. My reading of it, once you create the book, it just happens.
Yeah, I spend bond to use it.
Yeah, you spend bond with the book to use its power.
So you've got a bond with each of them. So you are going to freeze that water in a way that allows Raku to clamber back up. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay, we have a special effects budget we've barely touched. Do you want to describe what we see, Jamie?
So I think it slowly starts out freezing and just appearing in front of Raku, and then forms into these nice stairs with even a fancy handrail, and just spirals up out of the water.
And some music that is a slight twist on Frozen plays over the top of this as Raku begins to clamber back up the stairs. Okay.
I think there's also just a strong visual distinction between the bluntness of Raku and the real delicacy of these stairs.
Yeah. Jamie does apparently love that kind of romance novel. that has fine filigree on all its balustrades. Clance, you've seen Raku disappear in. You've seen Amos commanding his rabble to dive for pipe. What do you do?
I am also going to head down and try to get one of the pipe out. And I think I'm going to invoke Abaddon's power to see if that would assist in some way, and use Dark Magician.
Dark Magician got you out of trouble last time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what demons are for, you know? They're there when you need them.
So spending one luck will allow you to evoke one of the following powers, if I got this right, if things go well. So spend luck and roll plus Spitfire.
Okay. So that is... Well, I rolled an 11, plus Spitfire is a 12.
Doesn't get any better than that. So...
so I pick which power.
Yeah.
Which one could help me here? I probably don't need immunity to heat. I think I'm going to go ahead and create a chittering flying shadow servant who does my bidding, and command this shadow servant to lift the pipe out of the ship.
Both pipes, because they're both down there now, but that's one servant, 2 pipes, not a problem. Just describe this chittering shadow servant. You know, what's its basic makeup?
Yeah, I think it's slightly... actually, I think Abaddon, just as a way of almost mocking me, makes it look a little bit like Clance in a way, but sort of a twisted, demonic version of Clance. And it just, except like where the legs should be, it just kind of goes into tendrils. And yeah, I think it floats down, but I think there's like a whispering that you can hear from it, like a demonic whispering if you're close enough.
I like that. I think that is probably too much for the tavern sweepings. I think that Captain Nightshade's tavern sweepings, while they're fighting over the pipes down in the hold, the flooding hold, see this demonic conjuration floating down towards them and scatter. They splash and swim and wade away from the pipes, shouting, "It's a demon!" And then shortly after that, we will see the pipes emerging from the hold.
Like you've never seen a demon before, you yellow dogs.
Amos, what do you do when at the far side of this hole in the middle of the ship, of this old hulk, you see Euphrasia Lampkin and a good portion of her crew? And Euphrasia shouts, Amos, thank you for retrieving my pipes.
They're promised to another, Euphrasia. Crimson Sky crew. Let's get to the ship.
Because she does outnumber you significantly.
Yes, the better part of valor is discretion here. We are going to retreat to our ship and get sailing on the main as fast as our piratey legs can carry us.
So Amos has ordered retreat. Clance, Jamie, are you inclined to do as he asks?
Yeah, I think so. At this point, there's just been a lot going on, and Jamie's just kind of done with it.
I think Clance would be very intrigued by Euphrasia.
Well, I can spend a bond and make a roll to give that command some teeth to give you a compel to fight against.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because I think at this point Clance is getting direction from his demon and direction from you, and there's just a lot of confusing orders all coming in at once.
Yeah. I see Clance, hesitating, and I say, Mr. Carter, to me, we're going back to the ship.
Before Captain Nightshade checks the efficacy of his command, I do want to know what Raku's doing, because Raku has clambered out of the hold to see this going on. And I'm noticing angry, compel when insulted, fly into rage and do something dumb. Now, no one's insulted Raku yet. Bloodthirsty, compel when angry, attempt murder. So what I'm going to say, Raku, is that you clamber out of this at the point when Euphrasia is saying to Captain Nightshade, thank you for rescuing my pipes. What's Raku's response? And then we'll see whether Captain Nightshade can restrain you if necessary.
Yeah, I think what I might do then is go, this looks like a conflict. The captain sometimes prefers I de-escalate a conflict by not, just going straight to violence, so it would be better to bargain. And what I should do is grab Euphrasia's pet, and then we can swap her for the pipes. And this will be helpful.
So, Captain Nightshade, Raku leaps, I think, to make this happen in a hurry, leaps beside Euphrasia, and you can see those great clay arms reaching out for Euphrasia's pet. Captain Nightshade, what's the plan?
The plan remains retreat.
Then let's try your command then.
All right.
See whether that will bring Raku back to controlled.
Does my command apply to all crew? Yeah, when you choose a goal and command your crew, I guess it applies to everyone.
That's my view.
All right, I have a 12.
Oh, well, so I think the only thing that you're required to do is to spend X bond with any crew. So you'll need to spend bond with each of the people you're worried about. So you needn't spend it on Jamie, because Jamie's going to do what she's told, I think, in terms of retreat. But you'll need to spend bond with Clance and with Raku, I think.
All right, fair enough. Well, I've spent a bond with each of them. Remember, I regain it when you guys submit to me despite your doubts. But if I push you too far, there's another choice you get to make. So with the roll as a 12 plus, I'm going to choose that you all have one temporary rank with all lackeys and nearby enemies. So that's a thing you could spend when dealing with any of the people around here. And I'm going to say you can't be compelled by any weakness or by your health going dark. Because of the ringing words of your captain as he inspiringly tells you, retreat, retreat.
So I think, Clance, that probably resolves your conflict for now.
Yeah, I think so.
The alternative, I think, is that you stand strong in the face of the captain, make an active or an active effort to remain here.
No, I like the idea
where you were at.
That works, but I think Abaddon is growing more and more jealous because you have the captain on one side and this demon inside of me, both kind of vying for control over me.
I like that. Raku, what do? You are no longer compelled to do anything because you're angry and bloodthirsty.
I'm a little, I think I want to stand my ground in the face of the command, spending the bond I've just gotten with our enemy that the captain has generously given me.
Fine.
Explaining how she's helping us overcome herself. So what is Euphrasia doing such that Raku thinks no, the right move is grabbing her pet so that we retreat from a position of strength?
I think that the scene in the marketplace made it clear that Euphrasia values her pet, and therefore it's a card worth holding.
All right, then I'm rolling +1 because the captain gave me bond with her.
Indeed.
And it's my first hit. It's a 7.
Thank God
because
for that
of the bond that the captain gave.
Oh, Amos never lets you down, Raku. He never lets you down.
Yeah, so, and I get one option here as I kind of stand strong. I hear these conflicting orders. I had trouble with this when I had a debt, and beating people up was the wrong solution, or maybe the right solution. And now the captain said something that I don't quite understand, but but surely like more things are better. Now my options are take a weakness, permanently lose rank equal to the bond you've spent. I'm going to pick you are in a worse position than before. So I'm hoping to stand strong, grab her, and like substantially worsen my position.
Yeah, so I think that you have the pet, the leash snaps, but you find yourself surrounded by Euphrasia's crew. And there is no way past them except the difficult way. And you can see Amos and Clance and Jamie and Clance's demonic chittering alter ego carrying the pipes away back, and Amos is shouting, "Come on, Raku, come on!" What do you do, Raku?
Well, I need to keep what I've gotten, at a cost, and bring her back to the ship. And everyone says, "Come on!" So I think it's rolling fisticuffs again. I just want to bust through Euphrasia's crew. I don't have to mark anything because
no, it's just a natural state of affairs now. So go.
I'm
for
covered.
fisticuffs.
Yeah, so just rolling plus blood. And that would be an 11. So on a hit, I destroy any object in my way. Don't harm myself or anything I didn't intend to harm.
So
finally, the good rolls are coming.
Yeah, beautifully timed, I have to say. So the risk was that the pet could get hurt in all of this. But I think, with her in the crook of one arm and you're just laying about you, we see you rapidly catching up with Amos and the rest of your crewmates. And I'm there, there's then going to be this kind of montage chase through this network of ships. There'll be a bit of swinging on ropes, I'm certain. But I think unless you want to do something specific with that chase, I'm inclined to cut to the Crimson Sky rapidly pulling away from the pirate haven.
And I just want to add that I think I knock at least one of Euphrasia's crewmates down the ice stairs, which improbably, even though I went up them safely, shatter under him.
Yeah, you're lighter on your feet than you look. So does anybody else want to do anything else with that bit of montage as we make it back to the ship?
Yes, like just a slightly retconned moment, kind of bringing back in a bit from last time's epilogue, that maybe we like get back to the ship and like hurriedly like hand the pipes to the maestro and are like, "All right, here's your pipes, you're repaid, now go," and like put him in a little boat and set him off. So basically he's going in one direction with the prize everyone's aware of. Well, we are heading off following the map.
I like that. Yeah. And so under full sail, you head away from the pirate haven. But I think what I'm going to have happen is that shortly afterwards, Euphrasia's ship. What should we call Euphrasia? Anybody got a volunteer name for Euphrasia's ship?
The Gathering Dark.
Oh, yes. With its black sails. The Gathering Dark, painted in pitch and sailed in black. You see the great black sails. Of course, they have a skull and crossbones on. Begins to fill, and the Gathering Dark begins to pursue the Crimson Sky. What's your reaction, Captain? Do you run or fight?
I've got my spyglass up to my eye, looking back, and I'm like, "Damn your lovely eyes, Euphrasia. Very well. If it's a fight you want, it's a fight you'll get. Phillips, Carter, man the cannons."
Now, the Ashcan version of this only has 2 ship moves. There's man the cannons and far as they bear, which is roll plus rank with your ship. So you may want to think about who you want to put in charge of the gun deck here, Captain. And then there's steer a ship in a difficult maneuver, roll with your ship, rank on your ship on a hit, blah, blah, blah. So I'm assuming, Captain, that we see you at the wheel, whisking the wheel this way and that and shouting commands.
Oh, certainly.
Who else has got rank with the ship?
I guess Raku has rank with the ship. I wonder if I can. Is it plausible that command move that I have would let me give people temporary rank with the ship the same way they get temporary rank with lackeys and nearby enemies?
I don't care if it's plausible. It's cool. Do it.
All right. Yes, because basically Raku's been like a loose cannon. I don't want Raku on the cannons. It's time for the other folks to step up. So
yeah, I think there's a real risk that Raku will simply throw cannons at the other ship. So fine.
I can throw them very hard, and then they're bigger than cannonballs.
So Jamie and Clance, you now have temporary rank with the ship.
Let's see if I succeed at the roll. But yes, it's a 12 again. So temporary rank with the ship, and you can spend bond with me to add to your roll even after rolling.
Okay, so I think probably the way to play this is, can you steer the ship in a difficult maneuver that gives you some advantage, and then we'll see how a cannonade comes off.
Yeah, well, we're headed away from the pirate haven into the Death Waters, where there's the ruined hulls of derelict ships sticking out. So I think the maneuver is some kind of like you catch the wind, swing round jetting up bit of destroyed ship, and then fire from kind of behind this cover to make it so the other ship will now not have the wherewithal to steer around, and will hit some of these obstacles on its way. Yeah. So I'll do the steering. You guys get those cannons ready. But I have rank with the ship. The dice love me today. I have rolled a 9, and I've got 1 rank with the ship, pushing this up to a 10 on difficult maneuver. So on a hit, I steer true.
You hit no obstacle, and I can do you no harm. So you are perfectly placed. And I think the way that I'd interpret that perfectly placed is that the starboard guns under Clance fire, and then the turn brings the port guns under Jamie. So they both get to fire at Euphrasia's ship. So, Clance, I think you're first up. Roll with rank on the ship, which is temporarily 1.
That is an 11.
And the move says, on a hit, your shot lands. Deal your weapons harm. Now, I have to say, I have no idea what the harm of a cannon is, but it can't be good for the other ship, can it? Cannon, 4 harm, 1 wreck. So your cannons... well, Clance, you tell me, what do we see your gun deck's guns doing to Euphrasia?
I think it probably takes out one of the masts. I think the mast probably is swinging down, and probably also the swinging mast is taking out people on deck, and I think it just causes a lot of chaos on board the main deck. And I also think, for Clance specifically, Abaddon has taken away my ability to strike or shoot. So I think this is probably an interesting way of getting around that, because I'm firing a cannon and not necessarily firing a gun at somebody. So I don't know how Abaddon feels about that either.
Yeah, well, come on. We both know how Abaddon feels about that. It's another indication that this is just not working out as a long-term relationship. Jamie, the captain swings the wheel, and the Crimson Sky turns on a sixpence to bring your gun crews into range. Fire as she bears.
Got a 3. Oh, you're muted.
I was just saying, oh no. Oh, Alan's muted, yes.
So Jamie, mark experience. They all count. And I think what happens is that this really isn't Jamie's kind of thing, because the gun deck is full of very excitable pirates. And the whole Foxside their aura is just, oh, wow. So I think that you call to fire too early. And so we see spouts in the sea ahead of the darkening. And then Euphrasia gets a volley off at you lot, and you take 1 point of damage to wreck, which means that you're still okay. Do you want to continue the fight, Captain, or do you want to run for it?
Yeah, I see our shot fall short, and I say, "Hell's bells." I look at the sky. I look at the the death waters ahead. And I think I like lick a finger and hold it up to see if the weather, the wind, or the tides will change in a way that will help us here by kind of slowing down or trapping the gathering dark, Euphrasia's ship. So I want to roll to twist fate.
That's okay.
And her ship has lost a mast, so they can't be doing too good.
I'm going to give them -1 ongoing till that does anything better.
But they do have a sorceress.
All right, so I'm afraid that I have rolled a 5, and that my Spitfire is 0. So I think what happens there is on a miss, the fates choose one and answer its question. So fate does get twisted, but it's up to you how it happens, Alan.
I think. Let me think. I think I'm going to have you take a weakness, Amos. Which one, though? I think I'm going to have you now wanted. So I'm going to allow the Crimson Sky to escape if that's what your intent was. But you are now wanted because this is pirate on pirate aggro. This is outside the Brotherhood's rules. So you now wanted by the Pirate Brotherhood.
It's more of a set of guidelines anyway. But like, sure, yeah, and the wanted condition says, or wanted weakness says, you have a bounty on your head, your face is known. So like, I'm sure what this is like Euphrasia's up at like the front of her ship, right? And kind of like, the wind is changing, giving us enough to get away, but we have to like do the weird like maneuver again around the wreckage. And so there's this a moment of like us like being basically kind of like eye to eye as the ships are kind of heading past each other, and then we plunge into the death waters away from the gathering dark.
And as the wind sweeps her long glistening hair away from her face and she stares after you, she says, "Damn you, Amos Nightshade, damn you." And I think that might be a good point to just take a short break. Is 5 minutes long enough? Okay, it's 20 past the hour by me now. Shall we be back at our seats at 25 minutes past the hour? See you then. The gang's nearly... Oh, the gang... Oh, wow.
Ready for sale in the 7 seas.
Is that a real hat or a filter?
It's a real hat.
It just appeared like magic.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm very impressed.
Demonic
Wait till I tell
magic.
Pearl.
Oh, no.
Pearl will be just over the moon that somebody else is dressing up. Okay, I've got to try and concentrate now because I'm just drawn to that image, Robert. Thank you. Yes, so aboard the Crimson Sky, heading into the Death Waters. Jamie, you're our scholar. We know that there are wrecks in the Death Waters, or at least at the fringes of the Death Waters, because I have horrible suspicion that boats don't get very far in. What do you know of the reputation of these deathly waters, Jamie?
I think I've heard a lot about trapped souls beneath the waves that like to bring down other ships.
Oh, yes, trapped souls. Gosh, yes. So I bet Amos didn't tell all of you about that when he said, let's set off into the waters. Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you. Raku, you brought Euphrasia's pet aboard, and she is speechless with horror at you. What do you do?
I bring her to the captain because he's in charge of everyone on the ship, and so he should meet her. And he brought the composer on board, so he understands what we do with guests. I think Raku does on the way, just trying to be a good host, like gives her like a big piece of hardtack, just being like, "This is for you," as a reassuring thing.
Clearly has no idea what to do with it, and so is brought before you, Amos, with a large chunk of hardtack that she's not quite certain what to do with. What do you do?
Raku, did I say we were picking up more crew at the pirate haven?
You didn't say anything one way or the other, Captain. But I don't know that she's crew. And then Raku kind of like, gently for him, roughly for everyone experience it, like takes one of her hands and like puts it right in front of the captain's face and goes like, she doesn't seem to be very callous, so I don't know that she will be very useful.
Then why, pray tell, have you brought this delicate dove of the civilized world aboard my vessel?
You have said to me, Raku, sometimes don't use your fists. So I used, and he like puts it out so you can see, my forearms to grab her so that we could bargain instead of killing everyone like you like to do with your clever head. And then he like looking down his own forearm goes, oh, and I tricked Euphrasia. Like you said I would struggle to do, but it was not very hard.
I kind of I can't, so I do a like there pat up on Raku's shoulders, and I say, Miss, you mustn't worry that you've fallen among disreputable ruffians, for I am not merely the captain of the Crimson Sky, but the true and rightful Duke of the House of Nightshade. And so I know how to treat a lady of your caliber. And I like offer a like courteous hand.
Oh, and she will drop a perfectly executed curtsy. My Lord Duke, I am Imelda de Groot, daughter of the governor of Saint-Sucre, and I am most grateful for your rescue and offer to return me to civilization.
We'll just be making one little errand first. What do you know of shipboard life, milady?
Only what I saw aboard Euphrasia Lampkin's ship which seem to me to be run on the lines of chaos, Captain.
Well, the captain's job is a difficult one. I'm sure she was doing the best she could, but here you'll see I run a tight vessel. But we'll need someone to show you the ropes. I'm afraid all hands will have to lend some aid in these waters. It'll be an adventure.
I was.
Oh, I think when you say show her the ropes, Raku does like point and goes, the ropes.
Oh, fates forfend. Raku, bring this fine lady to Miss Phillips. She will be able to tell what a woman of her station will be most suited to contribute to our little sailing expedition.
So I think we cut to Jamie, probably called down from the crow's nest to be given care of the Lady Imelda de Groot, who clearly was expecting to be introduced to someone of her own standing, perhaps, when she was told that this person would judge what contribution she should make, and is slightly discommoded to be confronted by a young woman dressed as a pirate. Jamie, what do we see?
So I think Jamie would just kind of look at her for a bit and want to size her up really, just to figure out like what's going on.
You go ahead and size her up. I've lost track of it. Oh, there it is. Roll plus vinegar.
So 7, because it's +1.
Okay, so on 7 to 9, hold 1. On a hit, hold 2. On 7 to 9, hold 1. Spend hold 1 for 1 to ask the following questions. What sorts of treasure are they carrying? How are they actually feeling? What's your goal here? What aces do you have up your sleeve? How could I get you to? So what's your preference? I think the you in all of that is always her, I think.
Well, with my Fox-eyed ability, I can also ask what's currently on their mind. So I'd like to do that.
You can. So you can. So do you want to ask that first?
Yeah.
What's on her mind? I think that, you know, those kind of random fireworks that you normally see. I think that you see a glowing white firework that kind of pops into an attractive older woman's face. And actually, there were some sketches in the diary of Imelda de Groot, which you also possess. And one of those sketches looks a lot like what's in her mind. And it's labeled in her diary as Carla, who I think we've discovered is Lady Carla Dupre, a poet, her true love. So that's what's in her mind. She wants to find Carla. She wants to get back to Carla. Yeah? And then which other question do you want to ask me?
How could I get her to help us?
It's quite a tough one. I guess that she, when you're having the conversation about, you know, do you know how to tie knots? Do you, have you ever done any hard manual labor? Have you ever taken fencing lessons? And the answer to all of this is not looking very good at all. And finally, at the bottom of your list, because I tend to think Jamie probably has a list for all occasions, and she's going down cross, 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 characteristics of the perfect pirate, cross, cross, cross. And then a good crewmate entertains the crew. and it turns out that Imelda has been taking lessons from Maestro Michelangelo Bernadotti, and that's why she was in the opera house that night. And so it appears that she sings like an angel, and that is what she can contribute. Quite how that plays out mechanically, I haven't even thought about.
Could this result in downtime for us, who might need to clear some conditions when she sings?
Yes, I think that'd be a good idea, because I need to give you a bit of downtime anyway. So so let's treat a recital by Imelda as the equivalent of a period of downtime. Yeah? Good plan. Thanks for that, Leah. Clance. It appears that the captain has his chart and he knows where he's going. What have you heard about the Death Waters?
I have heard that there's lots of treasure for the taking on these other ships. And at least where I come from, it doesn't count as grave robbing if they're not buried.
So, Clance, how are you? What are you? Is this piece of knowledge forming a plan?
I think it's probably even something that Clance himself wouldn't have really thought of, but Abaddon keeps putting that little thought in the back of his head, like, could be gold, could be artifacts. And I think Clance is he's probably going around the ship starting a whisper campaign, like telling random crew members, like, yeah, I don't know, I don't think the captain wants to stop, but some of these ships look like they could still have quite a bit of treasure.
Does that sound like clever telling them a clever lie?
It could be. I mean, I don't really know if it's the truth or not.
I mean,
so.
I also think it definitely tips over to being a clever lie if you imply the captain is looking for people to take some initiative.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So roll with polish then. Let's see how the whispering campaign is going to play over the next several days of journey.
That is a 6.
Right. I'm just going to put that on a shelf over there for a little while. See where we might go with the success of that whispering campaign. Captain, you've got your chart.
Yeah.
You steer left of the first galleon's wreck and all of that. What else do you want to do in this period that carries you towards what you hope is a sunken treasure?
Well, everybody needs to sleep at some point. Of course, because I have killed a Leviathan and have its blood on my hands, when I sleep, I am racked by violent nightly prophetic dreams. So I think kind of during this period, right, of kind of navigating the Death Waters carefully, but in kind of slightly montaged fashion, I will take a weakness in order to remember one of these dreams in the hopes that it will give me some kind of insight into the dangers ahead of us. So I'm going to take sick. I think the captain. I think the stress of all of this is wearing on the captain. But he wakes up one day and can remember what Leviathan visions tossed him back and forth that past night.
Okay, so you spent your luck. You wake up. I tell you what, I'm going to pause for because I want to go back to that whispering campaign because the captain has been sick abed for a couple of days. And so I'm going to have the captain wake up to find Mr. Grimley, his first mate, having successfully led a mutiny. and that the mutiny is that the captain is mad, and in fact, all of these wrecks are full of treasure. Why are we sailing deeper into the Death Waters? We should just take that one over there. And so the Mr. Grimley, or as he's now styling himself, Captain Grimley, is offering every member of the crew a choice. They can stay with him and go and collect all the treasure from that wreck over there, or they can take the ship's boat with Captain Nightshade. Raku, what's your choice?
The captain didn't say someone else wasn't the captain. So how could someone else be the captain? I'm going to be with the captain.
Fine. So Raku steps across the line, chalked on the ship's deck to the captain's side. Jamie Phillips, says Grimley, where do you stand, Chronicler?
Not with you.
And joins the captain. Clance Carter, you're a bit of a cove. Will you not come and take treasure with us?
Well, I mean, what sort of treasure are you going for, really?
I think what you get back is amplified the whispers that you set in motion. That all of the hulls of these, in fact, these were coming back from where the treasure is. They weren't heading towards it. They were carrying treasure back. The Death Waters just didn't want to let it go. But now we're near the end. We don't have to go to the middle. We can pick it up here near the edge of the Death Waters. That'll be easy, is what the rumor has become.
If we're already near the end, then we're already closer to our final destination. So I'm just going to stay with the true captain and get these artifacts from the sunken temple.
Fine. Crosses the line.
Raku says, if you are eager to see the other ships, and Raku looks down at himself for a second, I think I can throw you, Grimly. And then you will be on the other ship. And perhaps the treasure is soft and cushiony.
I think that probably Captain Grimley has gone too far to step back now. So I think that you could try to take the ship by force, but you would have the rest of the crew of whatever it is, 30, 40, 50 pirates to deal with. What I will say,
ragtag lot they are.
What I will say is that Imelda de Groot just hangs onto Jamie's arm when Jamie crosses the line, and Grimley says, "Well, Captain, it's been good sailing with you, but you've brought us to too dangerous a place."
Grimly, you will regret this treachery if it's the last thing I do.
Now, Amos, do you want? Now might be the time for us to determine what. How's it phrased? The useful prophetic vision.
Yes. What did I see? Because today, waking up from my sickness, I remembered.
I think what you saw was the crimson sky being devoured by a Leviathan.
Grimly, for your own good, I warn you. You take this ship from me, you'll never see the safety of land again. Or my name isn't Captain Amos Nightshade, rightful heir to the Nightshade Duchy.
And at that, he doffs his cap and gestures to the ship's boat.
Come, my loyal crew. Treasure awaits us. Only doom awaits them.
And so I think we cut to the ship's boat and your crew of 4, including Imelda de Groot.
I'd love to
sailing
twist fate as we leave the ship to
go.
kind of see if I wind up with something that will be helpful to us as we go. Let's see. It's plus Spitfire. And my Spitfire, I believe, is 1. Yes. So Raku, sorrowfully moves off the ship, but it's an 8. So I think I'm going to go with as we get into this boat, kind of looking somewhat pathetic. That I remember there's something hidden in my pockets, and by pockets I mostly mean me. That I'm taking off the ship with us. Now, since I rolled a mixed success, I pick that there's something hidden in my pockets. You pick what it is and how I got it.
I think that I'm going to say actually it is the copy of the sail chart that the captain made, but you've been using it to light candles with, so it's no longer complete. Does it seem fair?
Sure.
So it will get you some of the way, but you may have to ad-lib some of the remaining journey if you're still heading for that sunken treasure. And so what I'm going to have you do is to sail away. It's dusk. You can see the crimson sky heading away to a nearby wreck. Captain Nightshade, you have the blood of a Leviathan on your hands. As you sail away, you're much closer to the water here than you were high on that aft castle of the Crimson Sky. And so in the sinking sun, you can see something dark moving in the waters below you.
Yeah. I will say to my my skeleton crew gathered around me, I thank ye for your trust and loyalty. I will try to repay you. You will have to steel yourselves for some stranger waters and stranger commands as we sail this. But have ye but faith, and we shall all be made men, women, and golems. And I'm gonna stick my face into the water, and I can breathe underwater, so it's fine. And I'm gonna speak to the Leviathan down below, and I say, "Beast of the depths, your sister's blood covers me, which in some ways makes us brothers. I have no will to kill another of you creatures. I seek only the treasure of the drowned temple. And if ye will leave me and this crew that remains loyal to me be, I will reconsecrate the temple to you and your masters. What say ye, Leviathan?"
What a parley.
Yeah, it might be a
That's
parley.
parley. Yeah, that's high stakes parley.
Yep. All right. My polish is a +1, brings it to an 8. So yeah, on a 7 through 9, they want to see you hold up your end of the bargain first, or they change the terms. The fates decide.
And that's why the Leviathan rises out of the sea and swallows the ship's boat whole. You find yourself in a large cavern-like space with great ribs and the sound of the sea whooshing in and out of the gills of the creature as it dives towards the ancient temple that you have sworn to reconsecrate.
Be calm, crew. This is all part of the plan.
Raku is
Clance.
calm. This is part of a plan.
Clance, what's Abaddon saying to you at this point?
I think Abaddon is kind of putting the thought in my head of, consecrating the temple in his name and letting it be the spout from which he flows forth back into this world. Like, the temple to him is a giant magical artifact.
What a very interesting idea that is. Now you will have been put in the open boat with some fresh water and some hard tack. So the four of you and Imelda, who is in something of a state of shock, Jamie, just so you know, and is unwilling to let go of your hand or arm for any more than a fraction of a moment. You spend the next couple of days deep beneath the sea inside the Leviathan. I'd like to understand what each of you is doing with that time, and I think I'll start with Jamie. This would count as downtime, by the way.
So if this is downtime, I'd like to make a book.
Because you have all the bookmaking materials that you need.
Yeah. The Grimly wasn't going to hang on to those.
Exactly. He didn't see them as valuable at all. So talk us through it, Jamie. Tell us what you do and why you do it.
Okay, so I have to spend a guild, and then I want to call this book Rebuild, because we're going to try and rebuild this thing. But I'm not sure. Hold on a sec. So could I argue that's kind of an elemental effect of like rocks coming up to build this temple back?
I think that would work. Or alternatively, an elemental effect to get the sea, to get sea elementals to rearrange blocks of stuff so you could physically rebuild the temple. Yeah, I'm prepared to be as loose as you like with that.
Okay, so then I'll take now -2 on blood, and then I have to roll plus Spitfire. So that's an 8.
And so, do you want to tell us on an 8? Oh, you start with 1 rank with that book. Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Let's call it the Book of the Sea.
Okay.
Written by a young woman of the sea. And I think Imelda is fascinated to see someone of your class writing a book. It seems just so bizarre to her, but it's opening her eyes. Clance, do we see you doing anything during this period of downtime?
I think at some point during the downtime, I think Clance is just kind of, just talking to the other crew and, talking to Captain Nightshade, like, man, I can't believe the crew back there, that mutiny, it came out of nowhere. I'm glad that at least you have a loyal crew here with you.
I'd be glad of this too. And Clance, I wasn't sure which way you were going to go there, so I'm beholden to you for listening to your better angels and staying with your captain.
Is this a hoodwink roll, since you are totally responsible for this?
I wasn't going to make it happen until you opened the box, Clance.
Yeah.
But having opened the box, how well does this clever lie go down? I tell you what, I am going to give you +1 forward on it, because you did go with the captain. So I think you start from a default to loyalty.
Yeah, that's a 10 then.
I put a hand on Clance's shoulder. Truly, you are one of the only people I can trust, Clance. You will have your reward, and as we raise this drowned temple.
Thank you, Captain. I mean, to the ends of the sea, I would follow you. You always have my loyalty. And I think in another scene, like during downtime, Clance is also going to allow Abaddon to feed from his life source, his life force, which is a thing I can do to gain luck. And I'm trying to think of, I think the way that would look is like Clance just kind of, he has a dull, not a dull, he has a small dagger, and it just kind of carves into his hand and allows the blood to drip into the water.
Okay, that works for me. Raku, what about you and this downtime?
I think Raku always, is more open to non-human things than most people, and feels pretty at home as we take this journey. The whole world is kind of confusing to Raku in various ways, so it's nice when other people are confused. But I kind of want to just size up the Leviathan. Just,
Okay.
get a better read on it.
Yeah. And so what do we do? Do we see Raku listening to the ribs and kind of tapping on them, trying to get some kind of response back, that kind of thing?
I think we see a bit of that, and just even the bones themselves are kind of cracked, and almost within a Leviathan, it's like they're naturally scrimshawed, I would say. So
I like that
Raku
a lot.
lays a hand, and the clay kind of flows out of Raku and along the carvings, possibly illuminating something helpful. But I'm rolling plus vinegar, so
Literally anything can
-2.
happen.
Yes. Ha! All right. That's an 11 natural, so a 9 with my vinegar adjustment.
So on a 9, you get to ask one of those questions.
And they get to ask one as well. So
Yeah.
I think, I think I'm going with, what's your goal here? I know the captain is in some way made a promise to this Leviathan. Raku's not skeptical of that in any way, but he wants to know what will happen and how he can help. So when this temple is consecrated to the Leviathans, what will they get out of this? How will the world change?
The Leviathans are a dying race. And I think what we'll see is the scrimshaw on those bones begin to change to tell a slightly different story. And it is a story that once the Leviathans ruled all the seas, and through the depredations of men and of their queen, they have been penned back into smaller and smaller areas of the sea. And so by raising this temple, it will give back to the Leviathans the power to travel in all the seas, and gradually they will return to their dominance.
Raku's mostly fine with that. That sounds fine to Raku.
And I get to ask one of you, which is, how could it get Raku to help it?
Yeah, I think we specified that Raku has the superstition that bloodied weapons have to be offered to the guardians, and Raku will help if this might mean not just containing, but perhaps purging the sea of what those guardians guard.
Okay, so Amos, you're the only person who hasn't had a downtime. or told us what's happening during this period?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm studying the chart we have, and I'd probably ask, Mr. Groot, if you'd do us the honor. There's a song I've longed to hear sung, but no one aboard my ships has had the skill to essay it until now. And I kind of like withdraw from a hidden place within my impressive coat, the like scrap of parchment with the ancestral hymn of the Nightshades on it.
And Imelda will indeed sing like an angel. And it turns out the inside of Leviathans are not only not too uncomfortable, they have perfect acoustics. And so it is as though sung in a great arched cathedral.
Very good. And this definitely, like, you definitely see like some color come back to Amos's face as he hears this, because I'm going to clear sick.
Yeah. I'm not sure if downtime clears anybody else. I think probably. I mean, Raku still has exhausted marked with an option on extended rest. I think this counts as extended rest.
Yeah, no, it's very restful to be inside a Leviathan.
Yeah. No pulling on heavy ropes, no shifting sailcloth. It's just a easy peasy lemon squeezy. And so I think I'm inclined just to have another 5-minute break before we then play to completion. Yeah. So it's 3 minutes past, back here by 8 past. See you then. Now, just to clarify, Alexi, your white whale is getting the Duchy of Nightshade back, isn't it? It's not actually this treasure.
I mean,
this treasure.
We'll say again.
If I'd be very happy for you to change your white whale to be getting this treasure, if that worked more in a two-shot than the Duchy of Nightshade.
My theory is that this treasure is importantly tied into the Duchy of Nightshade.
Fine. I'll go with that. So I think, unless anybody else wants to do something while inside the Leviathan, I'm going to have it disgorge you in an undersea temple. And what I think probably we see, because again the special effects budget comes in, we see the tentacles of the Leviathan reaching up into a huge vaulted undersea cavern, and that drags itself out of the water. Its beak opens, and we see you walking out along its tongue, leaving the ship's boat inside into this space. Yeah. Let me start with Captain Nightshade. What's the most significant feature in this deep sea temple, Amos Nightshade?
Yeah, I think there's big statues of forgotten gods and monsters of the depths. Some in some kind of partially crumbled, but all still kind of discernible. And maybe out of the corner of your eye, they seem to move slightly.
Yeah, I like that. Probably, yes, at some point this will have been flooded or something, so they're barnacle encrusted. Okay. Raku, what worries you most about this space?
I think of the markings that are on the temple as it is. Seem like the inversion. Oh, yeah, sorry. I think of the markings on the temple as it is seem like inversions of the warding symbols the warders use.
Right. Now, by inversions, do you mean that they're here to keep the wardens out?
I feel like they're here, if you think of the wardens as locks, right? These are about opening and releasing.
Okay. Yeah. So, what could be released? Okay. Because it must have sunk for some good reason, mustn't it?
Yeah, and no one knows what that is the warden's guard, just that it's very important to them that they do it.
Okay. Jamie, what do you see here that intrigues you?
I think there's an area that's kind of like shimmering and fuzzy, and it's kind of dark in here, so we can't quite tell what it is on the far side.
We have a mysterious shimmering area.
I guess the light here comes from some bioluminescent barnacles. Yeah, there we go.
Good save. And Clance, what here does Abaddon want?
I mean, Abaddon kind of wants control. Like he wants to inhabit this space, right? He wants to make this underwater temple his. Okay. And I think the scary thing to Clance, as soon as we're here, is that Abaddon's actually been kind of quiet. Like you get used to having this voice in the back of your head with a demon inside of you, and then when it's gone and it's quiet, it's very unnerving.
Can I pin you down a bit? Is there something specific in this space? Because we know you want it consecrated to him. Mm-hmm. What do you think is the key thing down here that would be necessary for that consecration to happen? Some object or whatever, area? What?
I think that there is probably there's some sort of artifact inside the temple, and I think by destroying it, it will basically open the door to him.
I think there might be something that's causing that shimmer on the other side of the temple space, Jamie. And that might be where Clance is currently staring. What do we do now?
I think I might have a... oh, interesting. There's not a move. There's a move for sizing up a person, but not a place. I guess Jamie has a move for sizing up a place, though, right? Say,
Investigate.
Chronicler, let's watch our steps carefully. Tell us, where do we go next? How do we unlock the treasures of this place?
Okay, so I rolled an 8.
An investigate says, when you investigate a scene in detail, roll plus vinegar, on 7 to 9, ask 1. Is there something dangerous here? What and where is it? Is there something hidden here? What and where is it? Is there something here that I can use to my advantage? What is it? I'm looking for X. Is it here and where?
So Jamie's figuring the shimmering is probably the treasure. So she wants to know, is there something dangerous here? And what and where is it?
The dangerous stuff here is to do with those runes and sigils carved on these gods and monsters. They appear to be to do with how this place is protected. Is that enough to be going on with?
Yeah, I think so.
So there you have it, Captain. It appears that what you want is in that shimmery area over there, and you need to worry about those runes and sigils all around you.
Runes and sigils, you say? Raku, can you fill in these runes? Try to keep them quiet, at least for the time we need to do our work.
Yeah, I have a weird pitch on this. And I guess this is probably a twist fate. So here's what I want to do in the fiction, and then tell me what you think makes sense about how I'm trying to do it. I want to try and reach out to these runes, and they're on stone, and I'm like stone. And I just figure, the important thing is these runes not interfere with what we're doing. So what if I transferred them all to my body, kind of stripping them from the stone and putting them on me instead? And that's nuts, so I assume it's a twist fate, but I'm wondering what you think.
I think fictionally you're going to try to neutralize them using this mechanism. Mechanically, that sounds like twist fate.
Cool. Yeah, that's fine with me. All right.
I mean, the only other option, I suppose, is to parley with them.
I like that.
Because we already know that you can talk to carvings, don't we?
Yeah, I like the idea of parleying with them. So I want them to stop protecting this temple, but I'm going to offer them my whole body as a new home, and they can see the world.
Oh, so you're gonna? Oh, wow, that's quite an exciting offer.
Yes,
They've
been here
millennia beneath the waves.
Exactly, and they can, if they get off the wall, they can leave here with me.
Let's try that.
What runes want. All right, my polish is a flat roll. Let's go for this. Come on, dice. That's a 9. Haha.
So they will take you up on that offer, but they want to see you hold up your end of the bargain first.
I mean, I think,
or
I
they
think
change the terms.
yeah, if they wanted to hold it up first, it's definitely, I think, me taking them on now rather than taking them with me after they behave themselves, right?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
that's what it is.
So I think I
yeah.
put both hands, and then perhaps to the discomfort of the crew, Raku just pancakes his whole face against the wall, and then you see the runes just flow over him all over.
And so the terms have changed slightly to yes, we like this idea, but we reserve a degree of independent action until you deliver. Yeah,
as long as it doesn't involve active harm to my crew.
I think that's
yeah
where the gray in this negotiation turns out to be. Okay, that's great. So you go from major rune to major rune, drawing it onto your body. Okay. So with that in mind then, Clance, what are you doing while Raku is moving from plinth to plinth of these gods and monsters?
I think Clance is just kind of, and he's sort of not really meditating, but trying to get something out of Abaddon, to figure out what exactly Abaddon wants from him here. So I guess maybe that would be a twist fate to see.
Or size someone up.
Or yeah, I could be sizing up the demon inside of me. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, this is getting more and more golem-like.
So that is plus vinegar. That's an 8.
So on an 8, you get to ask one question, and I get to hold one as well. So Abaddon is going to be able to know something about you as well.
Okay. What aces do you have up your sleeve, Abaddon?
The ace up his sleeve is if you can touch the thing at the center of that shimmering space, is that he will be able to manifest and to consecrate this space to him and his kind. Yeah? The question that you have to answer for him is, how are you actually feeling about all this, Clance? Because I think Abaddon doesn't quite trust you as much as he used to.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling pretty reluctant, actually. Because while I want to uphold my end of the bargain, I'm actually getting kind of used to having this demonic power that just seems to just save me every time I use it. You know, it's kind of nice. Maybe I don't really want to give it up.
Fine. So what do we do then? I think at this point, Jamie's done her stuff. Raku's tried to help, as always. Captain?
Forward, into the glimmer.
At the point where it's almost like you fall, the light begins to be from that shimmering object. At the point when the light goes from that kind of green luminescence to that golden glow, you'll all hear the waters behind you disturbed. And out of the waters begin to climb the tortured souls that inhabit the Death Waters. Or so a book that Jamie read said. And they are the skeletal and corrupted remains of the crews of all those ships that have foundered in the Death Waters. What do you do?
You know, the time has come. This is no longer a question of polish. This is no longer about kind of brains. This is a time to draw both your sabers, shout out the dark battle cry of House Nightshade, and start cutting down skeletons. So that is what the captain's going to do.
Okay, so Amos draws both his cutlasses and charges into the fray. Let's have him roll to strike then, I think.
Yeah. That's an 11.
Oh, so on 10 plus, the fates may give you a special opportunity. Okay, so deal your weapons harm. Hang on. So when you strike or shoot someone, roll plus blood. On a hit, you strike land. So you do harm on them, and your cutlasses probably do 1 harm each, something like that.
It doesn't say on the kit. So.
No, it's on the move one. Hang on. Cutlass, 2 harm close.
Nice.
Yeah. So each cutlass is kind of slicing through various skeletons. On a 10 plus, the fates may give you a special opportunity, but you will invite risk. Do you want to take any kind of devil's bargain?
Tell me what the opportunity is.
The opportunity is that one of them, back in the crowd, is wearing much grander clothes and might well be the tortured soul of a captain.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so there's the opportunity. The risk is that you will need to cut your way through to him, and that will, tie you into this fight for a period of time.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm cutting down these skeletons, like lock eyes to eye sockets with the captain looking skeleton, and like reach into my coat for the single explosive that I have on my bandolier, getting ready to end this fight good and hard.
Okay, so with that going on, I'll cut to Raku. Your captain Raku has charged into these moldering corpses. What do you do?
Well, I think it's mostly time to back him up. But what I'm wondering I might do is support or protect a crewmate using Heart of Gold. And I think I want to give him the chance to add 2 to his roll, whatever he's doing next. So, Alexi, tell me a little about what exactly you're doing next so I can describe how I support you to give you +2 on it. I'm going to spend a bomb to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the goal here is, honestly, this is using a dirty trick, right? Mm-hmm. Like so I see this captain looking skeleton, and I flourish my cutlasses to kind of draw it forward, right? So we'll like be kind of making it think, yes, it's, where captains will meet sword to sword. But I've like dropped the explosive on the ground to like, yes. So I'm summoning it in, but I've actually dropped the explosive and I'm kind of like kicking it over towards the feet of this captain skeleton in the hopes of just blowing it up unexpectedly.
Then I think I'm mostly helping by just like crashing skeleton heads together, but doing this all in a more noisy and showy way than strongly, importantly effective way, so that the captain is distracted and hopefully won't see you do this because there's just a lot going on and like little bone chips flying everywhere. So I just mark upon to give you +2 to your roll here.
That's great. Before we see where that goes, Clance, the captain has charged back towards the waters, away from the shimmering object in the corner of the temple. What do you do, Clance?
Yeah, I'm going to take a look over at the shimmering object.
So you approach the shimmering object.
Yes.
Jamie, you will see Clance heading on into the shimmering object space. Do you go that way? Do you stay where you are? Or do you go and help your captain?
I would follow Clance, because I mean, my ultimate goal is to like capture the spirit of the sea, and I don't know what the shiny thing is. Maybe that's what it is. So gotta go investigate.
Okay. So Clance, it is a huge glowing pearl, and all you have to do is put Abaddon in touch with it.
So I do have the bedeviled weakness, which says compel when your demon feels or desires something, feel or desire the same. What Clance wants to do is destroy this thing, not let Abaddon out, keep Abaddon for myself. I assume Abaddon would want Clance to touch it.
He does indeed.
So
And
should I roll stand your ground?
stand your ground, or you could get rid of that with a hard-won moment of humanity.
Jamie's followed you, in case you need another human.
That's true. I'm gonna take my chances and try to stand my ground in the face of the compel.
Okay, I will ask Jamie. You are there, Jamie. Tell me if you're going to do anything. Okay? Because otherwise it seems to me stand your ground is going to take place.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna watch.
Okay. Have you thought about sizing up Clance? Because he's behaving oddly. I don't want to kind of take your agency. I'm just curious because he normally acts with quite a degree of decision, and he seems suddenly to be having, a kind of internal conversation with himself.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. I want to size up Clance then.
Okay, go for it. That is plus vinegar, which I think you're good at.
Yeah, maybe +1. Not bad. And I rolled a 9. Well, an 8, so I get a 9.
So you get to ask Clance one question, and then he gets to ask one question of you. So what question does Jamie want to ask of Clance?
Clance, what you doing here?
What do you tell her, Clance?
Well, the demon wants me to touch this thing.
Demon?
Oh yeah, there's some demonic. Oh yeah, that's a long story, huh? Well, there's a demon inside me. It wants me to touch this thing, and then it'll come out. Well, you remember that one time? No, you were unconscious when I picked you up and teleported you. Yeah, so I want to keep the demon for myself. So I'm trying to destroy this thing.
Okay, that's a lot.
And Clance, you get to ask Jamie a question.
What's your goal here?
I want to be captain of my own ship, so I kind of want to get this treasure and just rule the seas if we can. So I want to touch it. So I don't really want you to destroy it.
Okay, so that's the circumstance. We cut back to Raku throwing skeletons about in a theatrical manner. We cut to Amos lighting and just nudging this bomb-shaped grenade towards the captain. I think that we're ready to go, Amos.
Say again?
I think we're ready to see whether your dirty trick pays off.
All right. So dirty trick is roll plus vinegar. I have a -1 vinegar, but thanks to Raku, I'm actually rolling at +1. That's a 7. Yes.
And so the explosion goes off, and I think probably we see the skeletal captain. First of all, there's a kind of glow in his eyes as he approaches you, and then the explosion, we see him just cast apart, bones, and the skull flies away with a slightly surprised look on its face. And that causes all the skeletons to at least pause. Yeah, whether he's the only captain, I think we need to work out, but right now they just kind of stand back.
If they pause, I will say, all right, ye mangy crew of skeletons. You've seen what I can do. You've seen I'm the toughest captain under these here seas. If you wish for glory, then forswear these lost souls and follow me.
Command a bunch of skeletons. Go.
All right. Roll plus polish. That's a 4.
There is a guttural, and they surge towards you. Meanwhile,
Raku, I have miscalculated.
Meanwhile, back at the Pearl, Jamie doesn't want to destroy it. Clance does want to destroy it. What happens next, guys?
Does Clint still need to roll to stand his ground unless he's had this, terribly human moment?
Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, you do need to roll to stand your ground to stop. So we've got 3 options. We've got Clance touches it, Clance destroys it, or Jamie grabs it. Go for it, Clance. Can you keep Abaddon in his place?
Yeah, so I'm rolling. I have to spend bond to stand my ground.
I think you do.
You got to pick someone relevant who's helping you resist your vices.
Yeah, and I don't. Well, I guess Abaddon would want me to resist. I don't know. Well, Abaddon doesn't want me to destroy it. Jamie doesn't want me to destroy it.
I think the compel is Abaddon wants you to touch it, and that's what you're resisting.
Okay.
Unless I'm misinterpreting. Does that sound right, Alan?
No, that's right.
Do you have bond with Jamie at all?
Actually, no, I don't. So.
Who do you have bond with?
Just Amos and Abaddon.
I mean, the captain doesn't want you to consecrate this to Abaddon either.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I will spend that one because, the
Can
captain
I suggest
probably...
a narrative justification for this?
Yeah.
As Amos turns over his shoulder to Raku to say, I miscalculated there, he catches Clance's eye next to the golden pearl. And suddenly all that trust the captain has invested in Clance is boiling down to this moment. Yeah? What do you do, Clance? Let's see how you do it.
So that is a 7 plus... Is that plus the 1 for my bond? So that's an 8.
So, on 79, you must spend 1 luck or the fates get to answer the attached question. Sorry, no, I'm right, so I'm miles away. X bond. On a hit, you escaped your vices. You have resisted Abaddon's urge to touch it. 7 to 9, choose one. Weakness, lose rank, or you're in a worse position than before.
I will go ahead and I'll take a weakness.
I'm perfectly happy for you to choose.
I think...
Hallucinations.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, yeah. Yeah, I'll take the hallucinations.
And I think this will be the time we get to see Abaddon. So describe Abaddon to us, because he's just manifesting around Clance, Jamie. What does he look like, Clance?
I think Abaddon is humanoid-ish, but his face is like mangled, and you look into his face, and where you would expect to see eyes, like it's just chaos. It's just maddening chaos. Nothing is where it seems to be on him. Like you look, and every time you focus on part of him, you see like his arm or his hand, and the rest of him just, out of the corner of your eye is shaped wrong. And then he's just got these massive horns that come out of his head, and that is what draws the focus. I think anytime you look at him, is just these massive curled horns.
Before I cut back to the fight, Jamie, what do you do? Because Clance has wrestled his demons and has not touched it, this golden pearl. What do you do?
I want to touch it. I want to take it.
Jamie takes the pearl from its perch. Let's cut back to the fight before we find out what happened then. Raku, the captain has announced his slight miscalculation. What do you do?
I'm under a pile of attacking skeletons.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're gonna fisticuffs it up here again. And I believe at this point I did manage to clear one of these, so I'm just going to figure out which one it is.
You cleared angry, so now you're angry again.
Yeah, and I am, I think, at this point protecting a crew member from a terrible fate, so I do get to add 1 rank with Amos. And let's punch these skeletons. I did the more theatrical, subtle thing in a way. This ain't gonna be theatrical. This is just gonna be dusting them. All right. That's a 7 plus 2 is a 9. So on a 7, I destroy any object in my way. So I think I'm clearing these guys off the captain, giving him breathing space to act. Now, I either destroy something I didn't intend or harm myself in the process. So I'm leaning towards harm myself in the process, and I'm wondering how the runes I've taken, pitch in helpfully.
Yes, I think that perhaps you do take some harm. You can twist fate in a moment. Oh no, twist fate now, I think. Let's see whether the runes think this is...
I wasn't suggesting twisting fate, though I'm open to it. I'm just saying that since I take harm, I'm wondering if I do it from the skeletons or from the runes helping out.
Oh, I see. I beg your pardon. Right. I'm going to have you take harm from the skeletons. Because I think that, if we ever see Raku again in a game, I want those runes in play.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you take... Let's have 3 harm. Because there's a lot of them. Yeah?
I can do that.
But in doing that, you clear a space around Amos so he can he is freed. Now, Amos, I will just remind you that you did promise a Leviathan that you would reconsecrate this temple. Just didn't want you to forget that the Leviathan is still in the water.
And it has our boat, so okay. It is our exit from this place.
So what do you do, Amos? It looks like you have an opportunity because Raku has certainly thrown all of these skeletons back into the water. That doesn't mean more won't come, but you have a breathing space to act.
Yeah, and I can see Clance's demon manifesting as well.
Yeah, I'm going to have this first show to be a collective hallucination.
Sure. There we go. Clance.
And you will also see that Jamie is holding the pearl.
Yes. I have an obsession to pursue here is the thing. I think I'll say the Nightshade Pearl. And like kind of go charging away from the skeleton battle site, and I'll try. I'm just kind of charging to snatch that from Jamie, just to grab the pearl for myself.
I think we don't have much going for us here mechanically. It strikes me as either strike or use a dirty trick, unless you've got another suggestion.
Let me make it a dirty trick. I think I'm running to Jamie, who has the pearl, and kind of rather than talking this out, I've just got that pearl glow reflected in my eyes here, and I'll go ahead and just bring the cutlass and like flick some of the standing water from the ground right in Jamie's eyes, and try to grab that pearl for myself. My hope here is that I am definitely pursuing my goal at the expense of my crewmates.
That sounds like it to me.
I'm going to lose one rank there, and I take a plus 2d ongoing until the opportunity is passed. So if you agree that I've read that right, I'm going to roll 4d6 for this one,
and take the top 2 and then add whatever your skill is.
All right. Well, that's boxcars if I take the top 2 here. So the dirty tricks I think succeeds.
Yeah, I think that you flicking that salt water up into Jamie's eyes, she takes one hand off the pearl to wipe her eye, leaving the pearl sitting there in one hand, and you just whisk it away. Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you do with it?
I hold it. I hold it up in the air, and I say, as the rightful Duke of Nightshade, with the Nightshade pearl in my grasp, I consecrate this temple to the Leviathans of the deep. Yeah, tell me if I need to roll something.
No, we've got 10 minutes to play. I think that sounded like consecration to me. What I am interested in is what then happens. What do we see, Raku? What do we see when Amos declares this?
I think for a moment, it's almost as though there are phantom tentacles like wreathing and extending from him as he holds it. And they pass through and wash over all of us, and the water just boils as he does this.
Clance, what do we see Abaddon do when these tentacles, these mystic tentacles of destiny, weave towards him?
I think he is probably trying to fight it, but he's trying to breathe fire or shoot flame out. And as he shoots flame at one tentacle, there's 2 more that he can't get to. And so at some point the tentacles just outnumber him.
And we see him bound by them and slowly dispersing back into you. Jamie, what do you see happening at this point, or make happen? I don't know.
I was gonna say, I think Jamie's kind of upset with the captain right now. So
very plausible. She's
okay with consecrating, getting the temple back, I guess. She's gonna use her Book of the Sea. So suddenly there's just water kind of swirling around the captain, and it lifts the pearl out of his hands and goes above him, and then it falls and cracks open because it turns out it was an egg.
Oh, yes. So I think that is use your Book of the Sea, is it?
Yeah.
And I think that we left its purpose, sketchy, but that's a perfect thing to happen. What's inside the egg, Jamie?
It's another small Leviathan.
The newborn queen of the Leviathans. Raku, what do we see you doing?
I mean, I think Raku looks at the queen, sees somehow from his king with it, and just drops to a knee, understanding how you greet queens. This is a great day from Raku's point of view.
And then I will add that slowly the ground beneath you begins to quake and shake and gradually the temple begins to rise out of the open depths as a new mountain is built beneath it. And so shortly, we will begin to see that you are above the waters. Yeah. And that the way that the Leviathan brought you in is now actually a set of steps down to the entrance to the temple, against which the waves are just gently lapping. Anybody want something else?
I feel pretty good.
I think then that, given that we've got about 10 minutes to play, I think that's probably game. And so I that was great. I had a lot of fun with that, guys. Thank you for that. We close on the four of you and Imelda stood on those steps, and just as you're standing there bobs to the surface the ship's boat.
I think Imelda knows what to do and starts singing the Nightshade song, and like the Queen of the Leviathans kind of rears up in response, like it's a song that she knows well.
Leah, does Raku want to add anything to this final scene?
No, I just think Raku probably got some skeleton blood on himself during the fight. So as we board the ship, he does try and dip his knuckles in the water, but now that he's covered in these mysterious runes, the water just kind of flees from his touch. There's like a depression in the water, not allowing him to perform his ritual.
Works for me. Jamie, what do we see as a last view of Jamie?
She's just scribbling furiously in her book. It's got to capture all that.
Clance, how do we see Clance as we close out?
Well, we see Clance very happy because Clance got what he wanted, which is that the demon is now imprisoned within him again. But Abaddon is not quite so happy. And so, yeah, I think these whispers in the back of Clance's head just grow worse and worse and worse, and Abaddon is constantly sending Clance in different directions.
And as is fashionable these days, there will be a post-credit lead in for the next movie, which will show Abaddon kneeling at the feet of his master, and his master says, "You have failed me, Abaddon. Get back out there and bring him back to the cause." If we've got 5 minutes, I would quite like to do a quick roses and thorns as we run across. So in the order of the counterkeeper, Alexi, any roses?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, roses to everybody. This is amazing how much piratey goodness we packed into 2 sessions here. We had an opera heist. We had, a sea battle. We had negotiation with Leviathans. We had, fighting with skeletons. All the highlights of piracy. A big rose to Raku for taking the runes onto itself, which was a really cool moment. And a rose to Clance and Jamie together for having their dramatic standoff over the pearl, which was a very, very Pirates of the Caribbean moment. And I'm really glad you guys were up for it, because for me as just a viewer of that scene, it was really tense and fun.
That's great. Julie, any roses?
Yeah, roses to everyone. You guys made this super fun. I love pirates, and I'm pretty new to RPGs in general, so thanks for being patient with me, even learning moves and stuff. But I mean, yeah, you guys all brought you really got into your characters and just made it was so easy to imagine and get into it. And Robert, I love your hat.
Yeah, the hat needs multiple roses attached. Robert, roses.
Yeah, roses to just the whole rolling with the punches on the Whisper campaign into the mutiny, and that just I said that is just a one-off thing, and it was oh crap, no, this is happening. So yeah, roses to everybody involved in just making that go from 0 to 60 real quick.
Great. Yeah. There's it's that bit in Apocalypse World, isn't it? Give them what they deserve. Leah, any roses?
Big rose to the hat, Robert. Rose to your ridiculous pirate voice, Alexei, and to your like intense weaving in of the song in multiple parts, so it like developed and paid off. Yeah, Robert and Julie, that standoff was great, and I loved kind of the snowballing of moves and how you managed that, Alan. But it felt perfect that we are cutting back and forth movie style between two people fighting a bunch of skeletons to keep you away from the pearl, where it's just crewmates fighting each other.
Yeah, I was very pleased with the way that played out, and that would be my rose, that to all of you, the way that you leaned into that, and just made that an appropriately cinematic climax to the movie. So no, roses all round for that. But specifically, yeah, I mean, Alexei, all the way from we're going to steal some organ pipes, and any GM then has to think, shit, organ pipes, where do we go with that? So thanks for keeping that story running, because I could just let you get on with that. So great. Raku, Leah, Raku is a character that one really wants to see again. He is the spin-off movie. He is, when Pixar get this license, he will have a movie of his own. There's no question about that. Julie, I thought the way that Jamie, we saw the steel in Jamie there at the end. We went from slightly downtrodden servant girl through to heroine right at the end there, and then using the book to okay, I had the pearl, I lost the pearl, I'm having the pearl. Spot on. And Robert, yeah, I think the relationship between Clance and Abaddon is going to run and run. They are a double act waiting to happen. So those are my roses to all of you. They were tremendous. If I go back the other way in terms of thorns, and I'd be quite interested in thorns about the system, to be honest. This is my first outing with it. I think all of our first outings with it. So let me start with Leah. Go back the other way on the character keeper.
Yeah, I think I'm interested in how they'll develop magic use a little bit as they build this out from an ashcan, because I think sometimes we had moments where it wasn't quite sure what move is right, and Twist Fate covers a lot of things, but it might be nice to have things that are a little more directed. And I might want kind of wilder options on some of the violence ones, just because I think fisticuffs gets a little repetitive. So having that be wilder, have a more interesting cost than the conditions might be interesting to me.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of mechanical tools in this, isn't there? I like the idea of conditions. Actually, I wasn't certain how that would play. They're interesting. They open up some interesting ways to go. And in a longer game, I suppose that they generate some longer term aims and stuff. But yeah, I think you're right. Fisticuffs, it seems, okay, yeah, you break it, move on. Yeah. Robert, any thorns?
And this is something that I think I had heard from a couple other people on the Gauntlet that have played this, is the ship. There's not really much to the ship moves. It's steer the ship and man the cannons. So I hope they add more of the ship mechanics. And then the only other thing is, kind of the playbook moves. Like some of the playbook moves are like these super long, complicated, drawn out, like, there's a miniature novel in this playbook move. And then some of them are just, well, you punch and you break stuff. So I think it's cool to be one or the other. So if they want to have like these super complicated moves, that's great. Make them all that detailed. But that is a lot of work also to remember all the little parts of all these moves, like the Wordsmith and Dark Magician.
Yeah, I'd agree. And it was great that some of you had read the rules before we played, because I hadn't. So it was good to have somebody say, oh, actually, I think that means so. Yeah, they do seem, some of those, very convoluted. For what in the end you get, there's a lot of verbiage in there. And some of it is about creating background, I think, because you get some names for demons and stuff. But yeah, I think some of that's quite headache making. Yeah. Julie, any thorns?
Maybe it would be more interesting in a longer game, but just for a couple sessions, like I felt like the use of the guild was kind of, I don't know. I didn't really see the purpose. It didn't seem to matter. It just seemed kind of weird to me, but it would probably make sense in a longer game.
I think all keeping track of money in RPGs is a waste of time.
Yeah, it's just like, of course we have money. We're pirates.
Yeah. I was very surprised. It seemed very old school to have a shopping list with amounts on it. I haven't seen one of those in a while. And my old school goes back a long way, trust me. So I'd agree. I think there's quite a lot of stuff to track in here, and I'm not quite certain about the balance of the tracking. Alexi.
Yeah, I mean, call it a thorn if you want. I call it an observation about something interesting here, which is that the game as written seems to expect that compels are happening with some frequency, and kind of stand your ground is a frequently invoked move. And I thought it worked pretty fine that we mostly treated the sort of obsessions and vices of our characters as fictional positioning, because I think as players we were all like pretty game to just lean into them and not have to be compelled and fight against it. But that suggests that something in the design and the play style wasn't quite meshing, which makes me wonder, is that something to consider hacking or changing when we run it, or something for the designer to take into consideration as this game continues to iterate? So I don't have a solution here. I just wanted to offer that as an observation of the dynamics of compels in this playthrough.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting, and it's the kind of thing that crops up on the Gauntlet when well, you'll know this when you play Urban Shadows and debts. You don't need to keep spending debts to make other players do stuff, because they're desperate to do stuff, to lean into stuff. I don't know how this would play with a bunch of people who weren't constantly thinking about those conditions and those compels, because it seems a bit heavy-handed to kind of lob them in now and again. So yeah, I take your point. The other thing, my other thorn is there is a heck of a lot to be tracking. So you've got luck, XP, health, rank, which becomes bond, conditions. There's an awful lot going on in this game, and I just wonder if there's some way to streamline some of that. Don't know, but happily, you were doing all that, so that's fine by me, but it just struck me as a challenge. Okay, anyone else got anything else to say? Then wave bye-bye to the internet as I stop the broadcast. Bye-bye to the internet. Jim lads.